All right, let's do it. We're diving deep into the world of generative AI and what it means for all of us in the job market. I've got to say, the research paper you sent over, The Labor Market Effects of Generative Artificial Intelligence, really got me thinking.
It does paint a pretty compelling picture, doesn't it? Blending fresh survey data with insights from other studies to really show how generative AI is playing out in workplaces right now.
For sure. I mean, right off the bat, that 30.1% of people using generative AI at work from their survey, that's huge.
Yeah, that's a big number, and it really lines up with what other surveys are showing, like Pew, for example. Looks like this isn't just a fad, it's becoming pretty mainstream.
Totally. And it gets even more interesting when you dig into how often people are using it. A third of them are using it every single day, like it's just part of their routine.
Exactly, it's woven into how they work. The paper even talks about how customer service jobs are already changing because of it. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you actually talked to a human for customer service? It's probably been a while.
You're right. I think my last interaction with my bank was all through a chatbot. And honestly, I didn't even think twice about it. Kind of crazy to think about what that means for people who used to do those jobs.
Yeah, no doubt uses some big questions. But getting back to the paper, it looks like there's a certain type of person who's really embracing generative AI. Younger, more educated, and making more money. Those are the folks leading the way.
Right, those early adopters always got to be on the cutting edge. But what about different industries? Are there some that are really diving in while others are holding back?
Oh yeah, there are definitely some front runners. They broke it down by industry, and it's pretty fascinating. Information services and management of companies, those are way ahead of the pack, over 60% using generative AI. Then you've got real estate, construction, even education seeing a lot of adoption.
So fields that rely on information, communication, that creative stuff. Makes sense. What about the industries where it's slower?
Well, think about more hands-on fields. Agriculture, mining, government work, those are lagging behind a bit.
So basically, the type of work influences how quickly AI is changing things, but okay, people are using it. What's the actual impact? Like, is it making them more productive?
Now, that's where it gets really interesting. This paper found that for certain tasks, generative AI can actually triple a worker's productivity. Imagine a task that normally takes 90 minutes. Boom, now you can do it in 30.
Whoa, that's some serious time saving. But hold on, AI can't do everything, right? What about jobs that need that human touch, that creativity or judgment calls?
Definitely. Not every task is a good fit for AI. They found that, on average, workers are using it for about a third of their work week, so it's more about using it strategically for the right tasks. But even so, when you see productivity jumps like that, it makes you wonder, if people can get the same amount of work done in way less time, what happens to the need for workers overall?
Right, that's the million-dollar question. Is AI a job killer, or is it actually boosting us up? It's kind of a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, it's tricky. The paper gets into some economic theory here, talking about complements and substitutes in the job market. Think of it like this. If you're a chef, a good set of knives makes you better, faster, right? Those are complements to your work. But a dishwasher that replaces someone doing dishes by hand, that's a substitute.
Got it. So how does this all apply to AI in the workplace?
Well, it's not always black and white. Think about those customer service agents we talked about. If a company replaces them with AI chatbots, that's a substitution, right? AI takes over completely.
Makes sense. And on the flip side, the complement side.
Well, the paper talks about a study with consultants at Boston Consulting Group. They started using GPT-4, which is like AI on steroids, and it made them way more productive. They could get better quality work done in less time. So there, the AI wasn't replacing them. It was actually making them better at their jobs.
So AI is a tool, not a threat. I like that. But I guess it's not always easy to tell if it's going to be a complement or a substitute for a particular job, right?
Totally. It depends on a lot of things. And the research even found some surprising stuff. Like in some cases, lower skilled workers saw bigger productivity gains from generative AI than higher skilled ones.
Really? That's wild. I would have thought it would be the opposite. Like AI would be more helpful for those complex, high-skilled jobs.
It does seem counterintuitive, right? But it could be because a lot of those lower skilled jobs have tasks that are more straightforward, easier to break down for AI to handle.
So the type of task and how clearly you can define it might be key to how much AI can boost things.
That's one way to look at it, but the researchers also had this idea that maybe generative AI hits those in the middle the hardest, the medium-skilled workers.
So not the lowest skilled who might be replaced entirely, and not the highest skilled who can use AI as this powerful tool. What's the thinking there?
Well, they figured those medium-skilled workers might have jobs that are harder to fully automate, but also not that easy to supercharge with AI. It's a tricky spot to be in.
It's like we're all trying to figure out where we fit into this new AI world, but before we get too deep into that, there's this other thing in the paper that I found really interesting. They talked about people using generative AI to help them with their job search.
Yeah, that's a fascinating trend. Over 50% of the unemployed people they surveyed had used generative AI for job hunting.
Wow, that's a lot more than I would have guessed. So they're using it to write resumes, cover letters, maybe even practice for interviews?
You got it. And I think it really shows how this isn't just affecting people who already have jobs. It's changing the game for anyone looking for work, whether they're just starting out or making a career change.
It's like AI is giving people new tools to navigate the job market, which could be really powerful.
Definitely has that potential. But like with any powerful tool, there are also some potential downsides, things we need to think about carefully.
And I bet those go way beyond just jobs, right? We're talking about the future of work, of society, the whole thing.
Absolutely. And I think this research paper is just a small glimpse into how much generative AI is going to reshape our world.
Well, I'm definitely ready to keep digging into this. We've covered a lot of ground already.
For sure. We've talked about who's using generative AI, how it affects productivity, these ideas of complements and substitutes, and even how people are using it for job hunting.
And we're just getting started.
Exactly. There's so much more to explore.
So, listeners, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back in a flash to keep this conversation going. Stay with us. Okay, we're back and ready to keep going on this generative AI journey. It's crazy to think about how fast it's become part of our lives, you know? Just a few years ago, nobody even knew what ChatGPT was, and now it's everywhere.
It really is remarkable. From a niche thing to millions of people using it every day, almost overnight. And it's not just ChatGPT. There's new stuff coming out all the time.
It feels like we're in the middle of a tech revolution, and this paper really drives that home. Like how the demand for AI experts has gone through the roof. Salaries are insane, right? It mentioned software engineers at these top AI companies are making like $500,000 to $900,000 a year, some even more.
Yeah, companies are in a race to grab the best AI talent. They're willing to pay a ton for people who can build this stuff and make it work.
Yeah, makes sense. These are the folks shaping the future. But it makes you wonder, right? If all that money's going to this one area, what does it mean for everyone else?
It's a huge question, and nobody really has the answer yet. Economists, policymakers, everyone's trying to figure out what AI means for the future of work. Will it create more jobs? Will it make things more unequal because some jobs just disappear?
It's like we're at a fork in the road, and the choices we make now will decide what happens next.
I agree. And it goes beyond just the money, too. There's the social side of things. Like, how do we make sure everyone benefits from AI, that it doesn't just help the people who are already doing well?
And what about the potential for it to be used for bad stuff? You know, AI creating fake news or algorithms that are biased against certain people. How do we stop that from happening?
Those are huge concerns. The paper does touch on the need for rules and regulations around AI, but it's tricky, right? You want to encourage innovation, but you also want to make sure it's being used responsibly.
It's a lot to think about, but I think having these conversations is so important. The more we understand about AI, the better we can prepare for what's coming.
Absolutely. And I think a big part of that is education. We need to get people ready for a world where AI is everywhere.
Right. The paper said younger, more educated people are using generative AI the most now. But what about people who aren't so tech savvy? What do they need to know to make it in this new world?
Well, it's not just about learning specific tech skills. It's about a whole new way of thinking about education. We can't just teach facts anymore. We need to teach people how to be adaptable, how to be critical thinkers, how to learn new things quickly.
So like more focus on problem solving, figuring out what's true and what's not, and how to work with both people and machines.
Exactly. Those are the skills that will matter most in the future.
It's like we need to rethink the whole education system to get people ready for this AI-powered world.
We do, but there's a lot of cool stuff happening at education too, online learning, personalized tools, ways to make learning more engaging.
Yeah, there's definitely potential there. But I'm curious about specific ways generative AI is being used out in the world, like in different industries. The paper mentioned a few examples, but I'm sure there's so much more going on.
Oh, tons. Healthcare is one area where it's making a huge difference, like using AI to design new molecules, which could lead to brand new drugs and therapies.
Wow, AI designing medicine, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing. Think about it, developing life-saving drugs faster and more efficiently than ever before. That's what AI could do.
That's incredible. And what else is happening in healthcare with AI?
Well, another big thing is personalized medicine. AI can look at tons of data about a patient, even their genes, and come up with a treatment plan just for them.
So it's like having a doctor who knows everything about you and can create the perfect treatment plan.
That's a great way to put it. It's moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach to something much more personalized.
This is fascinating. It shows how AI can really make a positive impact on people's lives.
Absolutely. And healthcare is just one example. Generative AI is being used in finance, education, manufacturing, you name it.
It really does feel like a new era is beginning, and it's exciting to see what's possible. But like we talked about, it's important to be careful to make sure AI is used for good and that everyone benefits.
I completely agree. With great power comes great responsibility, right?
We're back and diving deeper. Even though we've just scratched the surface of this generative AI thing, it's already changed how I see things.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? The more you learn about what generative AI can do, it seems like it's popping up everywhere.
Absolutely. And I think what's hit me the most is that AI isn't just about replacing us. It's like it can help us do things better, create things we never could before, like those consultants using GPT-4.
Exactly. It's about finding the right balance. Humans and AI working together, each doing what they're best at. AI can handle all that repetitive stuff, crunching data, and that frees us up to be creative, to solve problems, to connect with each other.
Like a whole new era of teamwork with humans and machines side by side. Which brings me to something else from the paper, the economic stuff.
Right. The big question, what does AI mean for the economy, for jobs? It's a huge topic.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear out there. People worried that machines will take over and everyone will be out of work. But then there's the other side, people saying AI will create new jobs, make us more productive, and boost the economy.
It's tough to say, for sure. It's probably a mix of both, to be honest. Some jobs will definitely be automated away, but there will be new opportunities too.
The key is being ready for those changes, making sure our skills are up to date and that our education system is keeping up.
Couldn't agree more. Education is going to be crucial in this new world.
So what does that look like? What skills do we need to focus on?
Well, critical thinking is a big one. Being able to look at information and decide if it's reliable, if there's bias, knowing what's real and what's fake, especially with all this AI-generated content out there.
It's like we need to be AI detectives, right? Sorting out the truth from the noise.
Exactly, and we need to be creative, good problem solvers, and able to work well with both people and machines.
Those are skills that'll be valuable no matter what you do, even if AI isn't directly involved.
Absolutely, those are core human skills, and they'll become even more important as AI takes on more of the routine stuff.
Sounds like we need a total rethink of how we approach education. It's not just about memorizing facts anymore.
Right, it's about being flexible, always learning, and knowing how to think critically and creatively.
It's a lot to take in, but it's exciting too. It feels like we're at the start of something really big, something that could change the world in amazing ways.
I agree. There's so much potential, but we have to be responsible. We need to make sure AI is used for good and that it benefits everyone.
Well said. I think this deep dive has given us a lot to think about. We've explored how generative AI is affecting jobs, the economy, society, and how important education is going to be.
It's been a great conversation. Hopefully our listeners are walking away with a better understanding of all this.
I think so. And as we wrap things up, I just want to leave everyone with this. The future isn't set in stone. It's something we're all creating together. And as we figure out how to navigate this whole AI thing, we need to do it thoughtfully. We need to work towards a future that works for everyone.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us today.
And thanks to all of you listening. That's it for our deep dive into generative AI. We'll be back soon with another deep dive on a new topic. Until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those big questions.